Hello there and welcome, and great that you've all turned up again. Some are here for the first time and some have come back for a second time, so we must be doing something right. So just before we start the class, I'm going to revisit a little what we did last week, as just to revise it in our minds and run through it a little quickly with new people who are here so they know what's happening. So last week we covered what clothes to wear, obviously something soft and loose that you can stretch in. What equipment is needed. A mat is the most basic form. If you have a couple of books around you, or one of these blocks is useful as well. If you don't have that, it doesn't matter, but it's just going forward. I did an explanation about what yoga is. Yoga's union of mind, body, heart, spirit and soul. And I went into a deep sort of talk about that, but we'll just leave it at that. I have made a video of that class last week, and I will be able to send it out by link to you all probably tomorrow or the next day. I'm waiting for it to upload, and you can have a look at it on YouTube if you missed the first week, or indeed if you didn't and you just want to do it again. Why I open the class with an Om, because it grounds us, it centers us and enables us to be present on the mat. And I close the class, I open with 3 Oms and I close with 1 Om, and you're very welcome to join in if you wish. Yoga's choice. Then we talked about the importance of the breath, so I'll go over that a little bit now. Last week we did 2 breaths. There was the Ujjayi breath, the ocean breath, and then we did another breath called the abdominal diaphragmatic breathing and rib cage diaphragmatic breathing. We're going to revisit the 2 again today because I feel they're really the most basic breaths, and the ones that if you never come back to yoga again, that you can pull out of your toolbox and use to calm yourselves, come into the present moment. So the Ujjayi breath is just to go over it very quickly again, and again this is all carefully explained in the first video. You take your hand, you pretend it's a little hand mirror, and you go, you're fogging it up as if you wanted to clean the hand mirror. Now there's a little aspirin sound in my as I do that, and we make this sound as we do the poses to remind ourselves to be present and focus, and to remind ourselves to breathe, because sometimes in life when we get a little bit stressed out, we hold our breath, and then when we hold our breath we're stuck. So being able to breathe through difficulties really lessens the toxicity of them for us and how they occur to us in our emotions and our feelings and so on. So it's learning about us to be aware of our breath. It teaches us to be aware of our breath and keeps us present in our yoga practice. Now I'll just continue. So we go fogging up the mirror, and then we take the fog back. We unmist the mirror and we breathe back in again and go. So try that a couple of times. So, and then lowering your hand, try it again. And now we're going to try it with our mouth closed, because we breathe in and out always through our nose. We breathe in through our nose and out through our nose. During the practice, you'll see me doing it with my mouth open. It's only so that it's to remind you folk to breathe, and you'll hear it. If I do it with my nose, in and out through my nose, you don't hear, so that's what I'm up to. So let's try it just with our mouth closed. We'll go. And then just a reminder, we never force our breath. It's if you're hurting your back of your throat trying to breathe like that, you're forcing your breath. It's just the slightest whispering sound coming from the back of your throat. If there was somebody beside me in a mat here, they shouldn't be able to hear me. So that's how gentle and light it is. So moving on from that, I'll cover the diaphragmatic belly breathing at the end of the practice, so we'll be doing that again. the importance of sitting. Okay, so I sit like this. This is not a comfortable pose for very many people. You can sit any way you wish in yoga. The only thing that is important is that you're not sitting with a rounded back. A lot of us sit with a rounded back like this, okay? And this happens for many reasons. You know, we're driving, we're on our computers all day long, and all the other are sitting in couches, you know, sitting like this, we're slumped against the couch, you know, feels really comfortable. But you see the way just there is putting a lot of pressure on your spine. So we need to be much more aware of our alignment, and I teach alignment-based yoga. So I have a block here like this that I sit on. You can use a strong cushion during the practice if you wish, and I just pop it in just under my sit bones, and as I explained to you last week, these are my sit bones there. Okay, so I'll pop it in under my sit bones, and now look at my back. It's completely different from this. I'm able to do like this. So that's what we're talking about in relation to sitting. When you're sitting listening to me, you can sit in a chair, because it takes time to be able to sit with your core upright, because we've no strength. We've been lying around in couches and things like that, quite careless around our posture. And so just to, while you're listening to me for the next couple of minutes, just sit in a way that's comfortable. You can sit with one leg out or just whatever. So that's sitting. The four corners of our feet. I'll talk to you about that now. We have four corners to our feet. This is the big toe mound, the little toe mound, the inner heel and the outer heel. And I'll talk to you about pressing the four corners of your feet into the floor. So that's what it means when I speak about that. Yeah, and we also covered how to stand, and I'll just keep a quick demo. Feet together, more doable. Sorry, feet together, more difficult. Feet inner hip width apart, more doable. Inner hip width apart, and the root of my second toe, this here, is lining up with these 2 points of my hips. So that's inner hip width apart. If I said step your feet and to the outer hip width apart, you bring your feet so that the root of your second toe is more or less lining up with the outside of your hips. So inner hip width apart, outer hip width apart. That's what we're talking about. That outer hip width apart often occurs when we're lying on the floor. I might give that instruction. What else do I want to say about that? I give choice. So I'd say feet together, more difficult. This can be quite difficult to stand with your feet quite close together as we start out in our practice, in our yoga practice, or feet inner hip width apart, and that there is much more feels much safer for people. So that's there's more on that, but that's what we'll just move on. Right, so we moved through 6 poses last week, would you believe? We did mountain pose, which is the standing pose, summit pose, where we lifted our arms overhead. We came into full forward fold, so that this was mountain pose. This was, I'll just move away from the camera, that's summit pose. Then we came into full forward fold, and we'll be going back through this tonight, so you don't have to worry about it. So full forward fold, and we always have our knees bent. So that's it, we're just full forward fold, and then half forward fold, and we were using our blocks, look like that, and my back is stretched straight, yeah. And then we did a couple of standing poses, and we'll come to those later. Now, that's kind of a quick run through what we did last week. It's sort of reminded folks who were doing it last week where we are, and it gives an overall view to folk who have come in new this evening, because I know there's a lot of you who have come on new as well. Right, so now we can start the class properly and begin. So taking a sitting position where your sit bones are pressed into the floor or onto a block, like so, and you're sitting tall, so the sides of your body are long, so stretch between your hips and your armpits. Visualize a piece of string coming out of your head, move your ears back. So moving your ears back enables you to lift your chin, but you're not jutting your chin, you're just lifting it up slightly. Okay, so sitting tall. And I invite you to turn in and bring your awareness to your breath. And notice the cool air flowing in through your nostrils, and just follow the air all the way down to your abdomen. And as you breathe out, warm air flowing out, and all the way back up from the bottom of your abdominal area, all the way back up and out through your nose. So another couple of long breaths, and if as you breathe out, can you make the breath out just a little bit longer than the breath in? Without forcing it. And now I invite you to bring your hands as if in prayer in front of you. This focuses us and centers us. And we will open with 3 ohms. Exhale. Inhale. Om. Inhale. Om. Inhale. Om. Open your eyes, release your hands. And I forgot to say in the introduction, I also have a word of the day, and it literally is only a word or a phrase. So tonight's word it's 3 words, it's just for now. So I'm going to read you a poem, and then I'm going to read it again at the end of the practice. But yoga enables us to be present, moves us out of our heads and into our bodies through the movement of our breath and the focusing on the sensations in our bodies. And the importance of being present is when we're present and in our bodies and aware, we're more alive. 2, we put down our thoughts about the past, what shoulda, woulda, coulda, because the past is the past and there's nothing any of us can do about it, it's over. And it also, instead of being totally focused on what will happen in the future and being anxious around that, we're able to stay present because the future may never come as constructed in your head. So I'll just read this little poem before we start, and then we'll get into the practice. So the poem is called Just for Now. Just for now, without asking how, let yourself sink into stillness. Just for now, lay down the weight you so patiently bear upon your shoulders. Feel the earth receive you, and the infinite expanse of sky grow even wider as your awareness reaches up to meet it. Just for now, allow a wave of breath to enliven your experience. Breathe out whatever blocks you from the truth. Just for now, be boundless, free, awakened, energy tingling in your hands and feet. Drink in the possibility of being who and what you really are. So fully alive that when you open your eyes, the world looks different, newly born and vibrant. Just for now. Okay, let's make a start. So, let's make our way up to standing. Standing sort of, if you have a mat, halfway down your mat, and we're moving into sun salutation. But before that, we're just going to practice our mountain pose, which is our standing pose. So press the 4 corners of your feet into the floor. Feet together, more difficult. Feet in or hip width apart, more doable. And then squeeze your ankles together without moving your feet. Squeeze your shins, squeeze your inner thighs, At the end of your spine, you have a little bone. Invite that to move towards the floor. And then pressing down with your feet into the floor, stretch the sides of your body long from your hips to your armpits. Stretch arms down, stretch fingers down, and move your ears back. And bring your awareness to your breath. And now come into our first pose. So standing facing the short end of the mat, well, that was our first pose, but because some of you are new, I just want to be careful that you have got what's going on. Bend your knees slightly, and then inhale your arms up, slicing them up by your ears. Now, if you've got sore shoulders, you can place your hands on your hips. Just if your shoulders are, because I know people have lots of stuff going on. So inhale your arms up, and we're going to come into a forward fold. And I have my blocks there, but you might have a chair in front of you. If you can't get anywhere near the floor, that's fine. You're in your body, and that's all that matters. Inhale, exhale, hinge forward, bend your knees, and either place your hands on the outside of your shins. That may be as far as you go, knees bent, hands on shins, or hands on the blocks. That may be as far as you go. If you're going well, place your hands on the floor. If you have hands on the blocks, just walk the blocks back so that your fingernails line up with your toenails. So there we go. Now, just allow your head to drop, bringing your ribs towards your thighs. And this, you may not be within a NASA's roar of it, and that's fine. You're on the journey. Allow your head to drop. And take a breath. You practice your Ujjayi breathing. And then bend your knees, and we're moving into half forward fold from here. So I have my blocks out in front, and I place my hands on my blocks. Now look at my back. I've gone from being completely rounded like so, and then I've straightened my back, and I have a lovely curve in my in my lumbar spine. Hands are under shoulders. I'm looking out in front. Take 3 Ujjayi breaths. And now bend your knees, inhale, press down, stand up, lift your arms overhead, and then exhale your hands back to your heart. Take 3 breaths. And release your arms. I just want to demonstrate something. I know I have people on here who could find standing a little bit difficult, so I'm just going to show you what you can do with a chair. So you can sit on a chair, feet are on the floor. So this is mountain pose sitting, and again notice I've got a nice curve in my lower spine. So you can any time you're sitting at the table, everybody, you should be beginning to pay attention to how you're sitting, not this kind of stuff here. So that's it, but it takes time to develop a strong core. And then you can inhale your arms up, exhale, hinge forward, inhale, arms out in front, and then exhale all the way, exhale and then inhale and all the way back up again. So that's how you can do it on a chair. And put it off to one side. So we're going to move through 5 rounds of a sun salutation, and I often lose count in these, so hopefully I won't. Okay, so standing with feet together or inner hip width apart, yogi's choice. Bend your knees. Inhale your arms up. Exhale, hinge forward, knees bent, line up fingernails with toenails. Allow your head to drop. Inhale, walk your hands forward, place them on the floor, either on the tops of your fingers or on blocks. Turn your sit bones up, straighten your back. And then exhale, forward fold. Come into full forward fold. Knees are still bent. Press down, inhale, stand up, lift your arms overhead. Exhale your hands back to your heart. That's one half of a sun salutation. So take three ordinary breaths. Deep into your lower abdominal area. And again, bend your knees. Inhale, lift your arms up. Exhale, bend your knees, hinge forward, come into full forward fold. Line up your fingernails with your toenails, allow your head to drop. Or your hands are on blocks. And then inhale, place your hands under your shoulders, stretch your spine, lift your head, look up. Coming into half forward fold, exhale into full forward fold, still doing your Ujjayi breathing. Inhale, press down, stand up, lift your arms overhead. Exhale your hands to your heart. And take 3 breaths. And remembering on a scale of 1 to 5, 1 is a day at the beach and 10 is absolute agony. You should be, 1 is, well, anyways, around about 5, if it's too uncomfortable for you, either stop what you're doing or do less of it. So in yoga, we say no pain equals gain. So once again, inhale, lift your arms up. Exhale, bend your knees, hinge forward. Place your hands by the sides of your feet or on blocks. I'm going to just put the blocks away now, you know about them. Then inhale, place your hands on the floor or on blocks. Stretch your spine, look up. Press the backs of your knees away. Exhale, hinge forward. Inhale, lift your arms up overhead. Exhale your hands to your heart. Take 3 breaths, just 3 ordinary breaths. And again, bend your knees. Inhale, your arms up. Look up. Exhale, hinge forward, knees bent. Place the hands outside the feet. Line up fingernails with toes. Allow your head to drop. Inhale, walk your hands forward. Place them under your shoulders. Stretch your spine. Look up. Exhale, hinge forward. Line up fingernails with toenails. Inhale. Press down, stand up, lift your arms overhead, palms together, exhale your hands to your heart. Take 3 breaths. Another round, inhale your arms up. Exhale, bend your knees, hinge forward. Line up fingernails and toenails, knees bend. Inhale, hands under shoulders, stretch your spine, look up. Begin to press the backs of your knees away from you. Exhale, hinge forward, line up fingernails with toenails. Allow your head to drop, knees bent. Inhale, press down, stand up, lift your arms overhead. Exhale your hands back to your heart, take 3 breaths. 3 ordinary breaths. Another round, inhale your arms up. Exhale, hinge forward. Come to full forward fold, line up your fingernails with your toenails. Inhale, come into half forward fold. Begin to stretch the backs of your knees away from you, lift your head, look up. Exhale into full forward fold. Inhale, press down, stand up, lift arms overhead, look up. Exhale your hands back to your heart, take 3 breaths. Last round, inhale your arms up. Exhale, hinge forward, knees bent, come into full forward fold. Walk your hands under your shoulders, inhale, or stretch your spine, inhale, lift your head, look up. Exhale, hinge forward, knees bent. Inhale, press your feet down, lift your body up, stretch your arms up. Exhale your hands back to your heart and take 3 breaths. Okay, so now we're beginning to notice the difference, the sensations in our body from just that little routine of sun salutations. That's 5 sun salutations, at least I think it's 5. I'm reliably lose my count all the time. However, that's a little takeaway sequence. You could do it any time. You get out of bed in the morning and do 5 of those, and immediately you feel much more alive, much more awake, and you're working all the muscle groups in your body, plus you're working on the elasticity of your lungs, strengthening them, and so on. Right, we're going to move now into some of the standing poses that we did last week, so it's new for some and not new for others. I'm going to place this chair at the end of the... No, actually, I'll just put it here, so I can use it again. Okay, so we had... first off, last week was Warrior 3. So... stepping your feet wide apart. When I say this to people, they kind of do this. That's wide apart. That's actually just outer hip width apart. Wide apart takes up most of the space on the mat. But I realise that many of you have never stood like this for perhaps years and years and years. One, it can be very, you can feel quite unbalanced in it. And 2, it might be impacting on muscles that you haven't used for a long time. But the idea is to start off with your feet as wide as you can, because when we come into the next part of the pose, you'll see why. To align our feet properly, make sure the root of your second toe lines up with the middle of your ankle. If the root of your second toe, if your foot was turned out towards the corner of the mat, the root of your second toe will be pointing towards your inner ankle. If it was turned the other way, the root of your second toe will be pointing off in that direction. So that's a kind of a handy way of keeping your feet in alignment. So to move into our first pose, Warrior 2, you turn your right foot out, and then we always line up our feet so that our heel bisects the arch of the other foot. So if I drew a chalk line from there to there, that's where you would find, you'd know that your feet were aligned properly. However, that's what we're aiming for. However, this can feel quite unbalanced, particularly if you're new to yoga. So what you can do is just line up your heels with each other. It just gives you a little bit more balance. So again, it's yogi's choice, whatever feels right for you. Now, if you have a wall behind you, you might like to do it against the wall because it gives you support that if you're feeling unbalanced in this pose. Okay, so the next thing is we're going to inhale our arms up. Now again, if you have shoulder problems, you can place your hands on your hips. So I'm going to inhale my hands up, hands in line with shoulders. And then I'm going to look over my right shoulder. So we're a little bit into the pose. Now the next thing is we're going to bend our front knee. So my front knee is over my ankle. It's not back here. My shin has to be vertical. Back here, my shin is not vertical. If my feet are too close together, my knee ends up over my toes and my shin is not vertical. Okay? So that's why we get our feet wide apart. And we're working towards making our shin vertical. This is a very big pose, and if you haven't been doing any yoga or any stretching at all, you will find this very hard to do. So a way to get started would be to get a chair ready and put your foot in the chair. And then you can do this. So the chair is holding you up, and you can set up your feet and you can practice how to be in the pose. Now your hands should be in line with your shoulders. There shouldn't be one higher or one lower. And then you keep moving your front knee and out in line with your second toe. And you look out over your right hand. So turning your left foot out. Line up your front heel with the middle of your back arch. Bend your left knee. Again, my front shin is vertical, my thigh parallel. Now, a big mistake that beginners often make is we lean over the front knee. So move your upper body back, tick, 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 tick. Lift your arms up if it's comfortable for you, or place them on your hips. Hands in line with shoulders, bend your front knee even more, press your back foot into the floor, and look out over your left hand arm. Keep moving your front knee out in line with the root of your second toe. Stretch your fingers away from you. And take 3 Ujjayi breaths. And okay. So, in your own time, exhale, and then as you inhale, breathing, focus on your breath moving into the lower abdominal area, so that as you breathe in, your abdomen expands and you can feel it moving with the palms of your hands. As you breathe out, your abdomen contracts and moves back towards your spine. It's not a muscular action, it's only being done through your breath. So you can take 10 breaths here, exhale and inhale, and off you go. And in no way should your breath be forced. Just breathing in a way that feels comfortable for you, but with focused attention of breathing into one area of your body. And on your next exhalation, make it your last exhalation and return to normal breathing. Now, keeping your feet and knees where they are, this time lift your arms overhead and lay them on the ground behind you. Point your palms towards each other. If your arms are waving around in the air, set them on cushions behind you. And again, we're just breathing into the lower abdominal area. Minimal movement in our ribs, minimal movement on our upper chest. Just lower abdomen only. Make your next exhalation your last exhalation and return to normal breathing. And now return to the home pose. Hands back on your lower abdominal area, palms down, knees are still bent, leaning towards each other, and take another 10 breaths into the lower abdominal area only. And on your next exhalation, make it your last one and return to take 5 normal breaths. And now for the next part of it, this time we're lifting our arms overhead, place them on the floor behind us, palms pointed towards each other, and we're stretching our legs out. And our feet are the width of the mat apart from each other, right out to the edges. And again, we're still focusing on the lower abdominal area, and we're start with another 10 breaths. Making your next exhalation your last exhalation, and return to normal breathing. Take 5 breaths and returning into the home pose. Place hands palms down, index fingers pointing towards pubic bone, thumbs pointed towards navel, and knees bent and leaning towards each other. feet hip width apart, and take another 10 breaths, breathing into the lower abdominal area only. Make your next exhalation your last exhalation. And now we come to the last bit of our practice this evening, which is relaxation. So stretch your arms out, stretch your legs out, and lie on your back. If this is uncomfortable for you lying on your back, you can sit up in a chair, lie on a couch, whatever feels comfortable for you. If it feels okay, perhaps you might like to cover yourself with a bit of a blanket, maybe something over your eyes, or turn off the light in the room that you're in. And you're going to drop into a place of quietness, of stillness. And even though your thoughts may come and go pretty much like clouds in the sky, there's no need to engage with them. Just put them on pause and say, I'll come back to you later. And similarly for any thoughts, emotions, feelings or beliefs. Welcoming everything out of awareness and allowing to settle back into awareness. Finding that place of stillness within you that's always there. That sometimes just gets covered up by our daily doings. Nothing to do, nowhere to be. Receiving your breath and sinking even further into the floor or into the surface that's supporting you. Deepen your breathing and start to awaken your hands, your feet by maybe moving them. You might like to give yourself a stretch. And you can stay here, or if you wish, bend your knees roll to one side and make your way to sitting. Just for now, without asking how, let yourself sink into stillness. Just for now, lay down the weight you so patiently bear upon your shoulders. Feel the earth receive you, and the infinite expanse of sky grow even wider as your awareness reaches up to meet it. Just for now, allow a wave of breath to enliven your experience. Breathe out. Whatever blocks you from the truth. Just for now, be boundless, free, awakened, energy tingling in your hands and feet. Drink in the possibility of being who and what you really are, so fully alive that when you open your eyes, the world looks different. Newly born and vibrant, just for now. I invite you to bring your hands to your heart. Turn in one last time to honour ourselves, each other, and the practice. We close with one Om. Exhale, inhale. Thanks for practicing, thanks for coming to practice, and hopefully see you all again next week. Have a lovely night.